TRIYA, welcome back to my channel, Bookishtriya. I hope you're fine. I'm also fine as usual. In this video, I'm going to talk about the books that I was reading throughout the month of September. So these are the books. First, this is my most favorite of all the books at present. This is the Ramachandra series of by Amish Tripathi. This is Ram, the Seer of Ikshvaku, the first book of this series. Sita, Warrior of Mithira, the second book of this series. And the third book is Ravan, the enemy of Aryabharta. Well, and this one, this is Prince of Ayodhya. It is also based on the Ramayana, the epic Ramayana, but it is written in a quite different way. I'm going to talk about this later in this video. Stay tuned and watch till the end. And I also read Jahanara, the Teenage Diary of Jahanara by Subhadra Singh Gupta. It is barely a child novel, but interesting. And this is a philosophical novel, Siddhartha by Harman, a German author. Well, interesting, na? A philosophical writing, Siddhartha by German author Hermann Hesse. Interesting. But the major difference between the writings of Ashok K. Banker and Amish Tripathi, as both of them are mythological fiction writer, is Ashok K. Banker tends to maintain the supernatural aura in his writing. He tends to show the characters in their supernatural ways. I mean, as you know that they are mythological characters, they are beyond the humanly barriers. They are more powerful than us. They are more they are more strong, and they cannot be taken in the same pedestal as we are. So this is the main difference between Ashok K. Banker's writing and Amish Tripathi's writing, as Amish Tripathi tends to recreate the whole plot line, the characters one by one in a completely different way. He recreates the characters, imbibing in them the true nature of human beings. I mean, so that we readers can relate to the characters, and so that the plot line can also be related to the present society. This is the most interesting thing about Mr. Bhatti's writing. That's why, since I read the first book of his, the Shiva trilogy, when I read The Immortals of Milua, the first ever book of him, and I became a huge fan of him just because of the way he writes, the way he recreates all of the mythological characters. Yeah, this is true that he takes the elements from the mythology, from the different mythological books, but he recreates the characters. He recreates a whole plot line. He recreates the character so that we can relate to them, so that we can enjoy them in a completely different way. And Ashoka Banker, that I've already said that, is more likely to write in that, keeping the essence of that supernaturality, keeping the essence of their, beyond humanly powers. Rama in this book, the Prince of Ayodhya, as you know that Ram was the first Prince of Ayodhya, he keeps Ram as he is, as we consider him, as we respect him, as we venerate him as a true Lord. He keeps that aura throughout all throughout all this book. Ram is a supernatural creature here. Ram is beyond our own perceptions. Ram is beyond a common human being. That's it. But when I started reading this book, at the beginning, I was struggling with the language, because he writes in a very polished and difficult language. Though when I proceed towards the end, when I proceed towards reading the next chapters, I truly find this interesting, and I find this very, very, very much enthralling. About, as you know that mythology is my favorite genre, and I love to read whatever comes from mythology, whatever is based on mythological characters or mythological setting. And yeah, that's why I enjoyed it. And not only because of this fact that it is based on mythology, but also because of the writing style, because of the uniquely handling the character, and the supernaturality that she I mean that he Ashoka Banker imbibes in this book, I truly enjoyed. It is admirable. Anyway, when I was reading the first chapter, I couldn't understand the true essence of the chapter, or I couldn't grasp what is happening there. It was like it started all on a sudden, and it started in a different, like, I was struggling because I couldn't relate to what is happening. I couldn't grasp what is actually happening, and I was like, what is this? Am I truly going to enjoy this book? But when I keep reading, yeah, I really enjoyed. I kept reading, I really enjoyed. And This is, as I already said, that Amish Tripathi tends to write in a he keeps the reality with the he maintains a balance between the reality and magic. It is kind of whenever when I started reading, I was discovering these mythological characters in my own way. As you know what, I was able to reconnect. I was able to resonate with them. I was able to find that they are just like us. They are also human beings with their strong determination, with some extra qualities, such as they were truly able to maintain the balance between, like, balance within them. They were able to go against the go against the obstacles. This was the difference between them and us. We, as common human beings, sometimes we find it difficult to go along when it is like when our lives is full of obstacles, when our life is full of hindrance. But these characters, despite of all the obstacles, despite of all the currents going, they were facing the problems they were facing, they all stood against them. All of these three characters stood against all the odds that comes in their path. Well, so most interestingly, Sita and Ram, both of these characters are considered to be the next Vishnus. And interestingly, Ravan is also shown in a completely different way. Can you imagine Ravan to be a true lover? Can you imagine him to be a tender person too? Can you imagine him, and can you imagine that he can go beyond everything? He can do anything for someone whom he loves truly. He can write poetry, he can write poets or couplets about someone who truly loves. He truly loves. Can you imagine that? Yes, Ram is portrayed thus in this book, the third book. That's why Ravan, the enemy of Aryabhatta, the third book of the series, I found it the most interesting. I found it the most enthralling of all the books. So yeah, Ravan is, it's like, it can be inspiring sometimes when you go through this book, because Ravan is portrayed as a character who was deprived of a lot of things. He was betrayed by his father. He was betrayed by the society. He was also, like, neglected by the society, and then he raised himself towards. Despite of all the obstacles, he raised himself to be the most strong, the strongest, the most powerful, and he became the most, the richest businessman in that time. Most interesting thing about this book is, though it is written for merely the entertainment of children so that they can find history more interesting, as you know that history is something that seems to be boring to most of the children, most of the students, but history has its own interests. It can be sometimes so much intriguing, so much thrilling too. So in this particular book by of hers, Subhadra Singh Gupta uses her imagination to just show what could have happened there in the interiors of Shah Jahan's family, interiors of the palace of Shah Jahan, particularly I'm talking about the palace of Mandu, when he was banished by his father Jahangir, and he lost the favor of Noor Jahan, the most favorite of the wives of Jahangir. And the most interesting thing about this book is it is written in a very simple language, and it's so easy to finish. And I personally I personally choose to write this kind of things which are written in simple language, because I'm from a Bengali medium background and I'm not that much adept in English. So I keep reading this kind of easy writing so that I can learn the basics too, and it helped me in that regard. It reminded me of the diary of a young girl, that is also a diary, but on based on a true account and written by a true person. But Jahanara was also a historical figure. But the thing is, she was also fond of writing. She was fond of literature. She used to write a lot of couplets, a lot of poetry. She was fond of reading poetry and several books too. But the thing is, Subhash Senpukta interestingly imagined in a way that perhaps this young girl, Jahanara, was writing or was trying to keep the records of the events that were happening in the time when they were banished, or when they're out of the fort of their own palace, and when they were living in Mandu, the central part of India that is at present in Madhya Pradesh. So this book talks about the different periods of their lives. It has three chapters, and the first chapter deals with the 21st year of the reign of Jahangir. The second chapter deals with the 22nd period of the year of the reign of Jahangir, and the third chapter finally deals with the beginning period of Shah Jahan, when he became the king of the kingdom, when he got the chance to become the ruler. Now I'm gonna proceed towards this. This is Siddhartha by Harman. As I already mentioned that it is a a philosophical novella. Sorry, it is a philosophical novella, and this book only consists of 173 pages, and I read this in just a single day. Yeah, in just a single day. So this is not a subject to read and understand the whole thing, the whole message that the author is actually trying to convey through this writing. This is a philosophical, this is a kind of mixing of the different philosophies of different cultures, and sometimes you can find it boring, sometimes you can find it like beyond your perceptions, beyond your understandings, because we are merely common people, we are ordinary people, and some philosophical things can be like dull to us. So, yeah, in that regard, sometimes when I was going through, I found some of the pages boring, some of the pages dull, but after I finished reading this, I realized that I need to reread this so that I can understand what the author is actually trying to say, and what is the significance of reading this book, uh, you know, in that sense. Siddhartha is the main character of this novel. He is a young boy who wants to know about who wants to explore the true meaning of life, or he wants to seek out the true definition or true meaning of life. So he left home and wanders throughout his life there and here and there, and he has got a companion from the beginning of his journey. The friend He was the bosom friend of him, namely Govinda, who in the course of time left him and got along with the Shramanas. Well, and there is another interesting character, that is Kamala. She is a prostitute. She was a prostitute once, and then become the lover of this guy Siddhartha. And the love story between these two of these two was interesting. Yeah, it was the most interesting thing that I about this book that I actually enjoyed. Well, I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed, then please do like this video and don't forget to share and subscribe to this channel. Bye. Happy reading.